and stop explaining yourself. I want to remind you that now that you're here, you are home, and I officially welcome you to our family. All right, let's get started.
Now listen, stay with me for a moment because this is a serious conversation. And I know you're saying to yourself, well, Tiffany, does this stuff really matter? And the answer is yes. I'm 20 years down this business running journey. And if it's not one industry, it's another, but it's all the same thing. The CEO of that company has the ability to change, control, and destroy the market. And when I say destroy the market, I mean make everybody clear that you're there and have every person who has dollars, who wants to spend money on the solution that you provide, be willing to not just give it to you, but throw the money at you. Take it, take the money from me, and please solve my problem. Do you know what it's sitting inside of? It's sitting inside of your company's ability to establish itself and themselves as the expert in the market. I cannot tell you how many companies that I have had the luxury of either coming near, or they've come to our live events over the last 8 years, and they are doing a couple $1,000,000. They feel like they have their act together. And then they're like, oh, I know what the next thing is. We're going to invest in a LinkedIn strategist. We're going to spend $40,000. I'm like, wait, what? No, it is not a strategist. It is you being the strategy. You becoming the spokesperson of your company is the greatest opportunity that sits in front of us, period. I'm telling you that not only is it you becoming the spokesperson, it's you displaying the expertise that the company holds as the backbone of you, and how you generate leads is everything. It surprises me all the time when I think about how many CEOs just don't speak. Like, stay with me for a moment. When I say speak, I mean they get on a stage, they head to their local chamber event, they accept awards, or more importantly, sweet Jesus, they are not creating their own events in their offices, but yet they're looking for all these ideas on how do they generate a lead, and how do they, one, generate a lead, then generate a great lead, then generate a bigger lead. Those are the three things we want all the time as a CEO, right? We want to ask that question, then get the answer to it. How do I generate a better lead so we have better quality customers, et cetera, et cetera. But then we go over here and then we say to ourselves, okay, great. Well, then after we generate the lead, I want my sales force, my team, I want us to close it. Slam dunk. I get it. Every person out there in the industry is going to teach you and tell you that you need to spend all of your time and dollars driving more traffic. And though I'm going to agree that driving more traffic is very impactful, I'll tell you what's even more impactful. It is converting more of the traffic that you already have. What if I told you that inside of the numbers that you've already driven this year, inside of the numbers you've already driven this year, you have another million, 2 million, $5 million waiting for you inside of the traffic you have not converted. I remember sitting with the vice president of sales for $1 billion company. They did $1.5 billion. This was back in 2019, and they're based out of Texas. And I was sitting in the VP of sales office, and we were talking about their numbers, but more importantly, I was really focused on their sales force. And I'll never forget him saying to me, I was asking questions about the team that they were using, and not team, but software and system and team that was helping them to manage their leads, et cetera. How are they generating leads? And they told me HubSpot, and it was great. And I was grateful. But the truth is that all I kept hearing was this hyper focus on them driving more traffic. And as I sat there in a company doing over $1 billion in revenue, and I was vying for that business, I was literally about to take on this project. All I heard from this, and he was a nice guy, super nice guy, from this VP of sales was, I heard the same thing I heard that the company who was doing $5 million, same company who is doing $500,000, and respectively, the company that was doing $50,000, I kind of heard the same thing. I heard this consistency that if they just focused on driving more traffic, then they would make more money. And all I could think of is why is it the same thing no matter where we go? And then I realized the numbers don't matter. Every business today could double in revenue, if not triple, if they simply focused and made sure that in the midst of driving more traffic, that they had a direct line to making sure that they were converting more of the traffic that they were getting and getting better quality traffic. It is not just in driving more traffic. It is driving more traffic. It is getting better quality traffic. And then it is also converting more of what you got. That is the trifecta. That's the ace in the hole. And I know for a fact now, having coached thousands of people around the world, working with business owners of all sizes and types, that we always have this crazy attraction to the traffic. And I'll tell you, the money is still always in the details. The details is not in the amount of traffic we get, it's in the quality of it and what we do with it. So then we get to this question of how do we actually convert more of the traffic? Here it goes. It's real simple. That someone in the organization needs to step in front of the brand and create a human connection with the people that they're selling to. Yes, I know how sexy it is to do it with all of these like actors and actresses and people who are hired to create commercials, and that's very effective and stupidly important. But having lived in Hollywood and having multiple people in my own personal family who are on camera, they have agents and they're in commercials all the time, from my children to my husband, the truth of the matter is that they are all actors. Which means even though they can convey the message, they can give the message, and some of them do a damn good job at this thing. They're like, whoa, you're looking at the screen and you're like, holy mother of Johnson, this is amazing. Let me tell you the truth of the matter though. No one in a company, for me, is going to do a better job of conveying the value, the solution, more than the CEO. Who better to deliver the answers that every person is looking for, right? So every person who's looking at your products and services, actually, you know what, let me take a step back. It's not just everybody who's looking at your products and services, it's everybody who should be buying your products and services right now. They're wondering a couple of things. They're wondering, well, what problem does your company solve? And who are you solving it for? And what gives you the right, and what makes you better than everybody else in the world? Which is, why are you doing it? Now, when you consider that question, I want you to consider, or those questions, I want you to consider that every person who hasn't bought your product yet, they are thinking of buying your product, but you haven't given them a reason to buy it because they're thinking of the solution. You're constantly focused on the top percent. So we're just looking for the people in the market right now who are ready to buy. Why are you looking for the people in the market who are ready to buy? Those people are already sold. I can't tell you how many businesses who come to work with us, and one of the things that I see right out of the gate is like the epic fail. All of their marketing dollars, or some great agency, some guru, expert, marketer extraordinaire who understands ads and data, but they don't understand the people part of this. They're focused on driving more traffic, and they're also focused on almost just creating more data to be reviewed. I know it sounds bad, but that's the truth. That's how I feel. Instead of focusing on more connection, we have a really firm belief here that connection is currency. And not only is it currency, but it's the greatest form of it. Inside of all this traffic that we're driving, it's great because we have a plethora of people who are looking at our products and services all the time. But there are people in the market right now who are not looking at your products and services. But your responsibility is not to market and speak to the people who are already sold. Your responsibility is to market to the people who haven't bought your product yet and who haven't even thought about it yet. Those are the people who have the real problem in the market. And those are the people that you typically help better, stronger, because you're not just solving a surface problem. You're solving like root problems for them. You're changing the game. You're literally cleaning out their house and putting them back in like an extreme makeover kind of a thing. You know what I mean? This ability to help people at their root allows you to charge more money. It allows you to provide, honestly, a series of just expert solutions versus general practitioner solutions. And if you know, I believe wholeheartedly that the general practitioner in every market, they acquire general practitioner money. I have never had an interest in being the general practitioner, and I will never have an interest in being the general practitioner. Let me tell you something right now. I want you to be on the same page with me. In every single company that I've owned, in every industry I've walked into with our clients, because we've consulted, coached, and strategize for clients. And I maybe 12 to 15 of the core 22 vertical markets so far. I always either want to be, actually, I always just want to be the highest price. I actually never want to be the lowest provider. And I sure as hell never want to be in the middle. That just doesn't make any sense. The expert in the market is never trying to fight for volume. They're always fighting for value. And for the CEO that doesn't take the helm of being the spokesperson for their company or their brand or the brands that they run, they're missing a golden opportunity to convey the value in which the market says, oh my gosh, yes, this is the choice. But then I, as the expert, say, you'd be crazy to not come buy this product or service. We are the best ever. And you don't have to put any other company down in order to achieve this. No CEO needs to ever talk about another company. And I know that there's down and dirty marketing, and I'm not talking about that. That is a different place. And I have respect for it. And in certain instances, you have to talk about it. In certain instances, you have to highlight the fact that one product is better than the other. Okay. And I won't say any specific names, but I have a few companies that I feel like that about all the time. However, you can right now tell the market that you're the best and never, ever, ever mention anyone else. But I'm going to tell you, you can't do it from behind the chair. You definitely can't do it from behind the chair and behind the desk. And you can't do it if you're always hiding inside of a room, unless option number one, you have created an outlet in which your company develops a voice out in the market and you become stumble uponable. I, Tiffany Largie, am the greatest. No one's going to beat me in marketing the value of the products and services that I sell. There's no way. Now, can there be other awesome people, salespeople, team members, managers, directors, for sure, presidents of our company who can convey the value equally to me? Absolutely. I'm sure they can get damn near close, but they're never going to be just as good as I am. And it's not because I'm more talented, nothing like that. I mean, God, we have some amazing talented people, but it's specifically because some of the products and services that we sell are rooted in my story. Some of the products and services that we sell are rooted in my beliefs and my philosophies and my ideas. Some of the products and services that we sell come from the many decades of experience that I now have in fighting for myself and making millions of dollars, losing millions of dollars, hitting my head, getting it wrong, hiring the wrong people, signing the wrong contracts, buying out my competitors. I mean, you name it. I've done it all. And again, here's what's clear. I've done it all, but I've also won from it, which means that I have something to teach. And I know because I can feel in my DNA, the pain of making the wrong move. Nothing makes me more fearful than hearing that there is an awesome business owner out there doing $2.2 million and they're working 100 hours a week. It's not because I feel like they should be at the 4-hour work week. No, because I'm not trying to live that life either. It's not about that. It's because I know that that man who is sitting in his office for 100 hours every week, yes, he's building something amazing and I'm really happy for him. But I also know that he's missing out on really important time with his kids. I know that he's missing out on time with his spouse. I know that his spouse is like over him already. I know that there's problems in their marriage. I know that there's problems with his health. I know that he doesn't have friends. I know that he is silently either alone and he's good because he's kind of married to his work. But then on Friday night, he's throwing it back and he drinks, right, to get through Friday to Saturday. And he's not an alcoholic. He's not an alcoholic at all. But the truth of the matter is that he just has this way of creating value for himself by working more. But that's not a life. I don't care how much money you're making right now. I don't care how much money you're making right now. I don't care how big your business is. I don't care if you're like, Tiffany, but you don't understand. We got 100 people over here in these streets and we're doing $15 million and we're going to do 28. Who cares? You know, when we're dead, we leave all this shit right here. We can't take any of this with us. We cannot take any of this with us. So who cares? It doesn't matter. What does matter is that you build a life. What matters is that you experience happiness, you experience joy. What does matter is that you're not working 7 days a week. What does matter is that you can actually go home somewhere between 5 and 6 o'clock and shut it down. What does matter is that as much time as you're spending in this business is as much time as you're spending on your health. Because, like, think about it for a moment. If you're spending 40 hours a week, Stay with me for a moment. If you're spending 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week working to build this business, imagine what would happen if you spent 60 hours on the relationships in your home. What would happen if you gave the relationships in your home, the ones that you say that you care about so much? And if you're like, Tiffany, well, F you, I don't have anybody in my home. You have friendships, you have cousins, nieces, you have neighbors, you have other people that are around you on the planet that you could be pouring into, have been poured into you, and you could build something equally as dope. Imagine if the other areas of your life looked as good as your business. Imagine if you had that body, 60 hours. Whoa, 60 hours, not just working out, but getting fit. Shit. Can you imagine what would happen if you spent 60 hours on finding the right spouse, 60 hours on your children, 60 hours on a cause or your church, or you could spend 60 hours doing so many other things. And more importantly, it can't just all be about work. From a person who loved being in the office, I could be in the office until 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. And don't get me wrong, I love working. I don't want you to get this twisted. Working is a hobby for me. Um, Working and building businesses and figuring out the nuances, it's a hobby for me. And it's not because it's passive income, absolutely not, but it's a sport. And I really, truly enjoy the sport. Even though I've had my ass handed to me for sure, just like any great company in the last couple of years, the last 4 years, the last 20 years, I've had my ass handed to me. But it's not going to change the fact that I know at this point that I wish I would have done it differently. And I also wish, and I not only just wish, but I know for a fact if someone would have just told me that coming from in front of behind my desk, being the spokesperson for my company first, standing in front of my brand in modalities like back then it was radio, today it's podcasting. Every CEO should have a podcast. Everybody should have a podcast, but every CEO for sure should have, every company should have a podcast. It's the easiest thing for your company to launch. And I say easiest not because it's easy to produce, but really and truly at the after it, if your company is doing $1 million, it is nothing for you to spend a couple $1,000s to get something set up, and then you head to a studio and record. And if you're like, Tiffany, I don't even know how to get that done, our studio will help you do it. But every CEO should have a outlet in which they're sharing with the world their expertise and their knowledge themselves and then what their company does. I am so proud of what we in this company, like I'm so proud of what we do. Even on days when it's been hard, even on days when it feels like, oh, we made the wrong move. Oh, that was a bad investment. That was about a hire. Da, 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 da. All that stuff happens, but I'm so proud of what we do. But more importantly, I am clear that we're the best in the market. My responsibility is to convey to the market that we're the best that there is. My other responsibility is to maintain and control our company brand and the conversation internally and externally. Number two, you have employees or team members or contractors. They should all be raving fans of your product or service. But more importantly, not only should they be raving fans, but they should be the ones who are selling for you, with you. They should be able to walk through your story, the company's story, not pieces of it. I remember once there was a company who was waiting for my time. They wanted my business, and they kept trying to get my time and sell to me. So finally, the guy got on the phone, or a woman. This actually happened 2 or 3 times because the same outcome. I have the same reaction every time. But first time was this guy, and he was like, "Oh, hey, Tiffany or Miss Largie, we're trying to get a hold of you, such because we really believe we have great product that whatever this that third." I was like, "Really?" I will never forget holding the phone. I was like, "Really?" And then I was like, "Well, you don't sound like you're excited about your product, so I can't be excited about your product either." Click. Now, I didn't hang up the phone, but I actually then said, "And I'm gonna call one of your competitors to see if they have a product and if they have somebody who's excited about about the product, about what they're selling, because I actually need what you have, but I don't want to get it from you." The truth of the matter is that every team member is a reflection of the CEO. If you're in a company right now and you feel like your company's all over the place or your team's all over the place or is and are not happening, I'm telling you from experience. I'm not telling you because I have this grand idea. And I'm not telling you because I have hypotheticals. I run a P&L every single day and every single month, and every 2 weeks we have payroll. The truth of the matter is that I know that whatever is happening in the company is always a reflection of wherever the CEO is. I also know that there are times where it's like, some things are out of our peripheral. I hope I said that right, but if not, you know what I meant. Like sometimes are out of our view, and that's very, very possible. However, it's important for you to own that it starts and ends with you, the direction of where everybody's going. The easiest way to button this thing up is to get in front of your company and talk. Talk. I said on a podcast number 2, go on a stage. Go talk on a stage. Go talk on some stage. If you don't know how to talk on a stage or you're like, Tiffany, I'm afraid, let me tell you something. We have clients who are doing multiple millions of dollars who come and they work with us privately. And maybe that's not you. Maybe you're just doing a couple $100,000. Maybe you're doing X. It doesn't matter. The the truth of the matter is that you learning not how to get on someone else's stage. And I know you heard me take a deep breath there because it's like, oh, this is so loaded. It's not even just how to get on stage. Forget that. It's just the fact that you should be getting on stage. One of the places that I started getting on stage as the CEO of a company was way back when I used to go to Bennett College, and they're a all women's college. And what was so exciting is at first I would turn down the opportunity. I was like, oh, and then I would play it down, but I realized I had the opportunity to go and speak to women in tech. Back then my business partners were Xerox Corporation and Hewlett Packard. And even though I wasn't like a tech developer or software developer or an app, I was in tech because we dealt with hardware and software in a more security type of thinking. And Bennett College, they had this really cool program for women, and every year they allowed the seniors to create like a mock business. And I would go in and be one of the panelists, and I would judge all these companies, these mock companies. It was pretty awesome, and I had a lot of fun doing it. One time, um, uh, the director of the program, she said to me, she was like, hey, almost like she was like, a lot of the girls, you're one of the few women in the city, because our office was in Greensboro at that point. She's like, you're one of the few women that's in tech in the city. She's like, actually, there's not a lot of women who are Black or women in tech in the city. And she was like, what do you think about coming to speak to the girls sometime? And I was like, I don't know, because I wasn't nervous, but I was definitely like, I don't know if I have anything to say. And, I'll tell you, I think back on that decision because I weighed on it and I didn't realize not that I had fear, but I definitely was like, I don't know. I look back now and I'm like, man, I wonder how many other opportunities I went past it because I was either uncertain or not sure if it was the right fit or whatever it was. All I knew was at that moment of me taking the stage, they didn't put me on some big stage, but they did put me in front of a lot of students. I went and I spoke to them. All these girls were so cool. They were seniors graduating from college, and I didn't even go to school. I didn't even go to college. So for me, I was like, you guys are cool. I've never even done this, but y'all are awesome. And here it is. They were like, you're amazing. And it was pouring into them, but they were pouring into me. And I think in some aspects, they validated me in a way that I hadn't been validated before. And I didn't even know I needed to be validated. That's the truth of the matter. But I'm transparently sharing this with you because I know for a fact that it's key to what next steps I took and did. It's key to me building the damn thing. It's key to me building another level of confidence. And at that point, I was running a multi-million-dollar company. We had 15 employees. I had just built out a beautiful office. I had just bought out one of my competitors. And actually, I bought out 2 of my competitors. Like, I was in a spot. That moment transformed me, and it made me understand the importance of me being in front. After that, I looked for smaller opportunities for me to be in front. Opportunity number 3. So I said podcast, 2, look for a stage. Number 3, build your own stages. Every CEO should have some form of an annual kickoff, a customer appreciation, lunch and learns, something happening at their company. You're missing out on dollars, stupid dollars, by not having something. It's more than just having people come in, it's visibility. And if they're done right, they are absolute money. I used to make hundreds of thousands of dollars in a matter of a day or a couple of days simply by taking that experience that I told you in Bennett and then amplifying it. So then I started looking for other opportunities to speak. Not like to speak to become a speaker. I felt like at that moment, like I wanted to be more in front, or I needed to be more in front, because I could never consistently rely on the sales guys. We hired these salespeople. I was in an industry with 75% turnover. And I tell you, looking back, like even what I know now, I say to myself, man, I didn't use my story as much to hire. I used pieces of me, but I wish I used more of myself. But what I did do is I took this notion of being in front and I went and started creating my own events. I didn't call them an event back then. I would call them like they were some form of a lunch and learn because there would be 2 classes, it would be a whole day. So we'd shut down our office kind of a thing, or not shut it off, like, everybody who had to fulfill customers kept working, but we had a showroom. We had a whole showroom. It was beautiful. And we shut down the showroom and I would ship in machines. It would cost me anywhere from $2,000 to $8,000 to ship these machines in from Rochester. And we had to pay for freight and things like that. But these machines were hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we could never get a multi-million dollar. But one time we got a machine called 800 and we got it down, and that was pretty bananas, because that machine sells for $500,000 by itself. But that's another story. Anyhow, I would do these events. So we had people, we had one group, like group A would come between 10 and 11:30, and then they would stay for lunch. And then the people who were coming for the second session between 1 and 3, they would come at 12. So everybody ate lunch and they ate lunch at the same time. It was pretty awesome. I have this really unique strategy for getting people to confirm big names, like big names in the city to come and confirm. We almost always had 100% attendance, but this rinse and repeat allowed my whole team, everybody just got excited and we were all driving towards an objective. We were all making the dollars together. We were creating impact. And then I understood that for me, and I know my voice trailed a bit a moment ago. I'm sorry about that, but like I know for me making a decision to lead and to be present there and to double down and be the spokesperson was everything. I would start by leading and thanking everybody for coming, blah, blah, blah. But then I decided I needed to teach. We would bring industry experts in virtually. We couldn't afford to bring them also in person. I just chose the machine and I had the other people come virtually way back then. This is like 2014, 2012, 13, 14. And the truth of the matter is that we created these events. We probably did one once a quarter, maybe 4 for the year. And it's one of the smartest things I've ever done. Fast forward, here I am today, and I run a company in which we produce anywhere from 8 to 20 events a year of one, whether they're fulfillment events, they're customer facing, internal events for our team. We produce anywhere from 8 to 20 events a year for ourselves. And then we produce a ton of events for our customers and clients around the world. It's not only something that I believe in, but it is like this is the second trifecta, right? This is the second part of this. So the CEO says, if you're running a company right now, you're like, I need to make things easier for my team. We need to make more money. We need to generate better leads. We need to be generating leads on a regular basis. I need to get my hands around my company. I feel like our strategy and our message and who we are is all over the place. I'm telling you right now, the first step is you getting in front of your brand. The CEO should be a brand and the company should be a brand. And more importantly, the CEO should be a spokesperson for the brand. Period. End of subject. And if you're completely lost on how to get that done, just let me know. Let us know. Just stalk us somewhere and send us a note. Let us know. Or maybe somewhere here there's an opportunity for you to apply to come hang out with us. Or, hell, we're right in the center of downtown Phoenix. You can find us. The bottom line is I don't want you to leave. Not only I don't want you to leave any more money on the table, but I also don't want you to disregard the opportunity that's in front of you, for you to be in complete control of how your company makes money. Making money should and can be easier. And for the 100 hours that you're spending, I know for a fact if I could get you to shift your thinking and how you build your business and to be more strategic in your company's whole approach, what that means for you is a stronger company that needs you less. And that 100 turns into 60. And then we turn that 60 into 40. And then that 40, if you choose to, if that's what you're after at this chapter in your life, that 40 becomes 30. And then it becomes 20. And then it becomes 10. And then it becomes 0. And now you are a CEO holding on to an asset or running a company that you want to run or you want to versus simply having a company that is that you just have to keep doing because it's what you've always done and you don't know another way and you don't know out. So I hope that I hope you took notes. I am excited that we've even gotten this far, and I'm stupidly like fingers crossed that you are going to make a decision before you get out of your car, before you leave the office, wherever you're listening to this. Like before you do the next move, I'm going to ask you to make a decision on one thing. If you can pick one from the first trifecta and one from the second, like you and I are golden. And if you're lost, then somewhere here, reach out. Literally, just reach out. Here's what I know for sure. There is no greater opportunity today for you and your company to generate ridiculously more money, not just a little, but stupidly amounts of money than you getting in front, you being the spokesperson, and more importantly, you controlling the narrative or the brand. Who better than you?
I hope that episode was amazing for you and you are closer to building the damn thing. I can't wait to hear what your thoughts were, what part you loved, and the action that you're going to go take, because the truth of the matter is that the person who wins is not the person who gets there first. It's the person who takes action first. Now, I've got a gift for you, and it is at www.strappedhustle.com. It is imperative that you run there and you see all types of goodies, starting with the 7 must-haves that you've got to put when telling your story. There is so much deliciousness awaiting for you. I would love nothing more than for you to go ahead and give us a thumbs up and a 5-star review on not just this episode, but this entire series of how do you build the damn thing. Like always, if there's anything that we can do to make your week, day, or month better, please let us know. And more importantly, I can't wait to see you live, whether it's at Do the Damn Thing Live or in one of our communities, or maybe you're just hanging out with us on social media. What I know to be true is that I am meant to connect with you somewhere, and I can't wait for that day to happen. And more importantly, I can't wait to see what you build.